Ladies and gentlemen, on Mirror Now, we continue to decode this crucial US presidential election result that has come in today, a historic win for Donald Trump. Let me quickly get in my guests on the show. Balachandra Karthikeyan is joining us. He's the CEO of Bringar Apps. Raju Chintala is an entrepreneur, politician, and former GOP congressional contender in the US is also joining us. Jay Bhandari, national delegate for Kamala Harris, is joining us, and Democratic Party Central Committee member. And Veena Sikri, former ambassador, is also joining us. Thank you very much to all of you for being patient with us. Ambassador Veena Sikri, let me begin with you. This has been an absolutely crucial election result that has come in. So far as India is concerned, we do know that, the India-US relationship has been strong and it's going to be continue to be strong. But for you, what does this result mean? What does it mean for the India-US relationship henceforth? Do we expect any sort of issue between the new Trump presidency?
Well, first and foremost, we have to applaud the decision of the American people that they decided to vote for President Trump in such a convincing manner. As you were just discussing, there were a lot of other issues, the vote among the African American population, the votes among the ladies, among the women population. There were so many aspects to it, and broken down into different groups. It did seem that President Trump would not be able to, or may not be able to get a majority, but the convincing majority that he has got is obviously a clear indication of the support for the program that he has been presenting. And perhaps I think one of the most important aspects of that would be, number one, ending the war, the conflict in Ukraine and the conflict in the Middle East. And number two, the economy in America, fixing the economy in America, making America great again in the context of the economic aspects, jobs, and bringing inflation down that a lot of people in America are concerned about. So certainly in these two aspects, that's the reason why he's got the vote. So everybody will be watching how he will be delivering on these aspects. And certainly we in India too are very interested, as you know, on the Ukraine conflict. Our Prime Minister has himself met President Putin, and we are very interested that there should be a dialogue and diplomacy and end to the hostilities and so on. So our Prime Minister has sent a very strong and positive message for his good friend, because indeed in President Trump's first term, there was a great rapport, great friendship between Prime Minister Modi and President Trump, on the basis of which there was a huge progress in a lot of aspects of the bilateral relationship, including on defense, on trade, some trade issues, on defense preparedness, on purchase of defense equipment, and in fact on the impression, on the views about the global scenario, President Trump's views on South Asia. And we've noticed also that during this electoral campaign, the president has attached a lot of importance to South Asia. He's spoken about the Hindus in America and the Hindu phobia they're facing. He's spoken about what's happening in Bangladesh to the Hindus, the barbaric chaos and attacks that they have been facing. So it is certainly that he's going to give attention to these issues during his term in the next term. We also look forward as a member of Quad to the next Quad summit, which will be held in India in 2025. And we certainly look forward to President Trump coming to India for the summit and continuing the friendship to build upon it, because we do know that in the last 4 years of the Biden administration, while there had been progress on some issues, there had been others on which there had been question marks coming up all the time, whether it is on Bangladesh, on the Panun issue, on the Canada issue, the Niger issue, and so many issues had come up, and we were all wondering what is this all about. So we really look forward to the President Trump administration to put the India-US friendship on a strong keel, on a mutually beneficial keel, to develop the trust between the two countries, the mutual trust between the two countries, so that we can, each of us, play our respective roles in what we hope will be a strongly multipolar world. But of course, America to regain its leadership of the world, this is a big promise to them, and I'm sure President Trump will do his best to fulfill that promise.
Well, we'll have to wait and watch, of course. But so far as India-US relationship is concerned, Ambassador Sikri, they're not deteriorating, that's for sure. That was a concern there. But let me go across to Jay Bhandari. Jay Bhandari, for Kamala Harris and her team and people like yourselves, today has been a rather, disheartening day, a day where you expected a lot, but clearly that didn't happen. What went wrong as per you?
I think just the former ambassador told that there was a Ukraine crisis and this Gaza crisis, and I think it was mishandled in this period, and many citizens are unhappy. Also, there is there is another issue of anti-incumbency, and there are unexpected things happen because Kamala Harris got a little late in the field because it was the first call was for President Biden, and Biden has took long time to withdraw. So many things which affect, and
Okay.
still Kamala Harris did the best what she could have done. So I believe
Okay.
that there is
Okay,
a
Raju Chintala, it's been a great. Yes. Okay, I'll come back to you, Jay Bhandari. Let me get in Raju Chintala into this conversation. Mr. Chintala, it's been a great day for the Republicans. It has been a great day for Donald Trump. How do you see this victory? How do you see the Trump presidency henceforth?
Good morning. It's a very good morning, and I think American people are woken up with change in the administration. And Trump has promised several policies. He talked about issues that pertain to the American people, especially tax, trade, immigration, war. What's happening around the world, whether Ukraine or NATO, and there is no leadership. There is no leadership for last 4 years in the world. So that put him, victory. Immigration is a big thing. There are some other policies like abortion, uh, Israel Gaza war. So what's happening in the world, especially inflation. Inflation has hit what it used to cost like $10 is now $20. So those are the things that he talked about it. I think he promised the people what it will be next 4 years for the bring it down the inflation, trade, peace in the world. Those are the things he talked, and he got the people victory.
Mr. Chintala, I also want to talk to you about how Indian Americans have voted in this election. And there has been, from that traditional Democrat stand, there has been a certain inclination towards the Republican Party because there have been concerns about the immigration system when it comes to the Democrats. How do you see that transfer happening from blue to red, that shift happening from blue to red for a lot of Indian Americans staying in the United States?
I think the most of us who settled down in United States, we are all inclined to Republican Party policies, mostly because we live on our budget, we manage our budget. We are very successful people in the country. We work hard. We don't want too much taxation. So those are the policies that incline to Republican Party, especially border security. There is a crime around the cities that's happening in the United States, especially last 4 years. Illegal immigration is causing a lot of issues in the country. So those are the people who said, okay, we want to better businesses, better immigration policy, especially immigration, especially for H-1B visa. President Trump proposed a different visa, especially for students and H-1B. And more important is the trade. and peace. What's happening in the last 4 years is everywhere we see the war. So those all are the things that helped Republican Party to align with the immigrants, especially Indian Americans, whether it's other immigrants, like legal immigrants like me, who came on a H-1B and settled down here. So those all are the things that helped Republican Party to align and attract more immigrants that could vote for Republican candidates.
Ambassador Veena Sikri, I want to particularly talk about the women voters, and I have some data with me here which compares the 2022 voting pattern and the 2024 voting pattern. And this was, crucial for the Kamala Harris campaign. They were wooing the women voter. They were, pitching her as the first female president of the United States. But unfortunately, for the Kamala Harris campaign, women voters have not voted as much as they expected them to vote this time around. They had, and this is between 18 to 44 years of age group. Kamala Harris had 55% of the votes. Trump had 43% this year. While back in 2020, Biden had 61% of votes, while Trump had 37%. For Trump to be gaining that 37 to 43% of the votes from women between 18 and 44 speaks a lot, because abortion rights was one of the biggest issues that was contested this time around. And Kamala Harris was seen as the champion of women's rights, as somebody who supported abortion rights, as Donald Trump, who stood against it.
Yes, well, actually, it's quite clear from the figure that you're showing that in every category of voters, the women voters, the Latino voters, President Trump has done better this time than the last time. So obviously there are things in his program which attracted the women voters and other groups also to vote for him in preference for Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, of course, overall there is one, a very common saying about America: oh no, the Americans will never vote for a lady president. And this is something that you do hear very often from America. But I think that may or may not be so. But much more than that, it is that the elements of the economy and the elements of ending the war, I think the wars, these would be two factors that would have attracted even women in the group of 18 to 44, which is the group that is looking forward to their own future, their own, making a family, having a career, having a comfortable life, generally not being under the burden of war, which is highly inflationary, and the inflationary impact has been felt in America in the last 4 years. So it is quite clearly an indictment of the Democratic government's performance over the last 4 years, together with what President Trump has promised them, which seems very attractive to them. And now they'll all be looking to President Trump's implementing the program that he has promised, whether it is on ending the war, whether it is on improving the economy, whether it is on improving America's standing in the world, to make partnerships with other countries who can look up to America, who can be partners with America, and carry the world forward. This is a very important aspect. It is important for America to build these partnerships. Otherwise, we do know, for example, the messy way in which the American government left Afghanistan, being there for 20 years and then leaving it in this messy way, with lots of weapons which have fallen into the hands of terrorists. And we in Kashmir know that many of those weapons are now being used once again to encourage terrorism in Kashmir. So, we have seen the adverse impact of some of the issues that have taken place under the Biden administration. And I think that the vote for President Trump is a vote of hope that America will be able to become great again by encouraging other countries to believe in America again, to believe in the American partnership, to believe in America, actually playing its role in the world for the interests of one and all. So it's very important for President Trump's administration to build up this mutual trust and mutual benefit aspects for all countries that they are partnering in.
Okay. Balachandra Karthikeyan, let me talk to you about the other significant aspect of the US presidential elections this time around. President now to be the next president of the United States, Donald Trump, talked about how, in fact, he lashed out at one of the major media houses in the United States, and he's been talking about how major media houses in the United States have been maligning him, have been creating a certain narrative about him, and which is why he went to alternative sources of media. We saw him on Joe Rogan's podcast. We saw him on X with Elon Musk doing that record-breaking, lives and podcasts. There clearly is an emerging trend, an emerging significance of social media and other platforms, and the unreliability of traditional platforms of media, whether it's newspaper or television news channels, because they're so blatantly divisive, blatantly taking sides in this American presidential elections. How do you see that really contributing to the Trump victory?
Well, good morning, America. A new day, new president. Let's begin with Elon Musk. Musk has been a prominent figure, not just in the world of technology, but also in politics, especially during this election, right? I mean, his endorsement of Donald Trump was not subtle, it was bold and instrumental in rallying Trump's supporters. Well, he used his platform X, as a megaphone for Trump's campaign. He amplified Trump's message and engaged directly with the conservative voices, and even went far as hosting political debates and leaned heavily in Trump's favor. Well, he also appeared in Trump's rallies, where his presence alone drew immense media attention and energized the crowd. He also, widely discussed the campaign, a giveaway of $1 million to the Trump supporters in a swing states. That move not just only grabbed the headlines, but also mobilized voters in that critical region.
Okay. So that, of course, Balachandra Karthikeyan clearly reflects the kind of significance that social media has had. But do you see that now assuming a more important role during the Trump presidency? Of course, Elon Musk, has had a significant impact on this Trump victory as well. In fact, Trump went on to say that he's going to give Elon Musk a ministry as well, and that's going to be the Ministry of Government Efficiency, where we'll see whether that happens or not. But do you see that important role now becoming stronger during the Trump presidency?
Well, now let's turn to what Trump's victory means for India-US relations, right? I mean, during his previous term, Trump showed a great admiration for India's Prime Minister, Modi, calling him a true friend, and then deepening the personal bond between the two leaders. This relationship led to enhanced defense cooperation and strategic focus on countering the China's rise in the Indo-Pacific region. While I think Trump policies, I think Raju mentioned that Trump policies have sometimes been challenging for India, particularly of trade and, immigration. So its alignment with India's vision for region stability and economic growth remains significant. I think the foundation of our relationship is stronger than ever, built on shared values, mutual respect, and growing economic ties. I think if approached wisely, this new term could unlock the opportunities for collaboration in technology, defense, energy, and also benefiting both nations immensely.
All right. Raju Chintala, how do you see the Trump presidency? And I asked this to Karen as well, who was with us on the broadcast earlier. He promised a golden era for the United States of America. What would constitute that golden era as far as the India-US relationship is concerned?
No, it's going to be, I think, what he says, he does. And promises are always made. The last 4 years when he was a president, he made the promises, he kept the promises. Those promises are very important, and especially when it comes to the trade, immigration, and healthcare, and economy. Those are the things I think that's going to implement in the next 4 years. He's going to work hard. He's the people's president. He doesn't have to, be president to do anything. But what he does is he knew the country is not going in a right direction, especially what's happening within the country, outside the country. So he took that challenge to become, again, the president, and he's going to deliver what he promises, and mostly on the key issues that affects the common man in America or across the world. U.S.-India relationships are going to be strong. He's been a friend of India. He traveled to India. He talks about India. Most of the, especially the trade. I think we don't have a trade agreement between U.S. and India, and that is going to, I think, help us how U.S. India can uh, increase the trade, strengthen the relationships, so that the China does not dominate or China does not overcome other countries. So those are the things he's going to do, and he has promised. He has clearly indicated on his website last 2 years what he's going to do for next 4 years for American people, and to make safe, to make healthy, to make great. So it's those are the promises. He's going to keep it. He's going to work hard. He's going to have a stronger team that is going to work for him and implement those policies that during the campaign which is promised.
Okay, Ambassador Veena Sikri, before I wrap up, a quick question to you. Like you mentioned, we've had, certain issues with America in the past few months as regards to Khalistani thugs, as regards to Pannu, as regards to the kind of tensions that we have seen in the past with Khalistani elements in America. With the Trump presidency coming in, do you see that sort of getting an easy conversation between India and the United States, that sort of easing out?
I certainly do, because President Trump himself has been absolutely unequivocal in his condemnation of terrorism. And he has even in his victory speech, he mentioned about ISIS and how America was able to overcome ISIS in record time. So I can gather from that he will continue his strong stance against terrorism. And for example, in the Middle East, the action against the terrorist groups, Hamas, or is it the Hezbollah or the Houthi, he should be able to take action against them at the same time, while promising a two-state solution for Palestine and for Israel in that area. And at the same time, I think he will be able to understand completely India's concerns about the separatist activities of the Khalistanis taking place from American soil and Canadian soil. Because in India, there is no support for any of these Khalistani thugs, as you call them. But abroad, the groups are trying to use the freedom of speech and other freedoms promised in Canada and America, and they're using the gurdwaras, the freedom of religion in Canada. They're using the gurdwaras to do, finance trafficking,
Yes.
human trafficking, drug trafficking, and India has been giving this information to the governments of Canada and even to the governments of USA as far as Panon are concerned, wanting the extradition of these people. But as against getting the extradition, they are being allowed to continue their activities on Canadian and American soil, and even being given citizenship. So this space for terrorists, the space for separatists, I certainly, we do as a government look forward to President Trump understanding these concerns of the Indian government and working with Indian government to solve these concerns. So there will be a complete understanding, just as we have worked together with America on in the aftermath of 9/11, in the aftermath of the attacks in Bombay, in 2008, and we are continuing to work with them even about Hedley Rana and so on. There's so many areas of counterterrorism activities that India and USA have been working together, even during the Trump administration between 2016 and 2020. So we look forward to picking up where we left off and building it further, because I think that President Trump's administration support for India's position on not condoning any terrorist activity, not condoning any separatist activity from American or Canadian soil, and working with India to solve these problems. We do hope and look forward to a resonance on this, to a meeting of the minds on this, and this will be very important for us because we have seen also in the last, you spoke about the media and how President Trump was able to move over to the social media. Similarly, we've seen
Yes.
how so many aspects of the major media in America are mounting this campaign against Prime Minister Modi's government. And they've been doing it with completely disregarding all the facts, completely disregarding all the achievements of the of Prime Minister Modi's government for the last 10 years. So we do hope that now, when President Trump himself has felt these, aspects in his own administration, in his own campaign for this second presidency, he will be able to understand and work with India on these issues. There are a lot of issues that India and USA can work on. There will be problems. Of course, there will be issues where we will not see eye to eye, but as long as you understand each other, you can work out and agree on mutual trust.
All right, we'll leave it there. Ambassador Veena Sikri, Jay Bhandari, Raju Chintala and Balachandra Karthikeyan, thank you very much to all of you for joining us on Mirror Now and sharing your perspective on this crucial US election result. Thank you very much. With that, ladies and gentlemen, it's a wrap on this broadcast. Thank you very much for joining us. Up next is Sneha Koshi with the Daily Mirror.